My name's David, and the chronological Bible reading for June 9th is Proverbs chapters 19 through 21. Better a poor person who lives with integrity than someone who has deceitful lips and is a fool. Many of us know it's better to have integrity on the inside, but we're still tempted. Like, wouldn't it be better to get away with a little white lie and be rich if given the choice? And as tempting as it is, we know that's not true because this life is so incredibly short. It's roughly 1/10 or less of what the millennial reign will be while we're here on earth reigning with Jesus Christ. And then in comparison to eternity, it's nothing. It's like a vapor. It's a breath that vanishes. We can't take riches with us, but we can most assuredly bring with us integrity. And so we have the perspective of a mature adult, knowing what is best, delaying gratification for what will last, rather than a momentary pleasure that will ultimately not satisfy but for a moment. Verse 10 says, luxury is not appropriate for a fool. How much less for a slave to rule over princes? And at the high level, it seems like this is incredibly insensitive. It's not fair. There's favoritism for the rich rather than the poor. And I would suggest it's not about rich or poor. It's about mindset. A fool is regarded as somebody who doesn't work, somebody who's not a good steward. Why give them luxury that they won't take care of, that they will break and not be able to maintain? It's like when we put lottery winners on television and interview them after a few years. They find their relationships are broken, their money is all gone, and now they're in debt and unable to afford even what they had prior to winning that lottery in the first place. How much better would it be to gain wisdom than riches? But unfortunately, so many poor people look at rich people with disdain rather than with humility, asking how they could become one themselves. It's wrong to have a slave rule over princes because the slave doesn't know how to steward resources, finances, manage people. If you look at Joseph back throughout the stories in Genesis, Joseph had to go through a lot to get to a place where he was able to manage. It took him decades of servitude, serving in one house after another, serving in the prison, becoming a manager of different people and positions before he's finally put in command, second to Pharaoh, over the entire world known at that time. As wrong as it was for Joseph to have been sold into slavery, and the fact that it took years for him to be elevated to a position of authority, he had a lot of learning to do. How much wisdom did he gain during all of those years? God is no respecter of persons. God does not judge somebody because they're rich or they're poor, whether they're a slave or a king. He expects the same thing from all of us, and we all have the ability to learn and progress. If you're royalty, you could become better royalty. And if you're a slave, whether it's through debt or actual literal slavery, God can exalt you. And I pray that He will set you free, because nobody should be a slave. God's desire is for us all to be free. But can He trust us to be free? And can He trust us to be good stewards? Proverbs 20 verse 3 says, honor belongs to the person who ends a dispute, but any fool can get himself into a quarrel. Reminds me of Jesus' words in the Beatitudes where He says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. We can begin fights, or we could choose to end them. Preferably, we'll be ending them by ushering in peace. But we must be careful to not stick our nose into somebody else's business. You might just get punched there. And so with wisdom, employing the principles of godly character, we stick up for the weak. We stand against those who malign and use other people. We're continually striving to learn. We're continually striving to make peace. And may God use us continually. Verse 24 says, even a courageous person's steps are determined by Yahweh. We can make up our mind which way we're going to go, but we don't ultimately have a lot of control. All we can do is work hard and try our best. Many of us strive to make things happen, but because we're not lined up with God's will, He stands in our way. If God is standing in your way, stop. Ask Him, Father, what do you want me to do? And it might be that God's will for you is actually the deep down desire that will fulfill your soul that you've not even considered because it seems preposterous. And I thank God for pursuing me when I didn't even know what I wanted most. If you're not getting what you want out of this life, perhaps you don't really know what you want. Chapter 21 states, a king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He directs it like a water course wherever He chooses. God is indeed sovereign. We should spend so much more time praying, but in prayer, not just presenting our requests to God, but asking God what His thoughts are on different things and how we should handle different situations. When we go before the king or whoever that authority figure is, pray, listen, ask God, how do you need to prepare for that meeting? What is it you should be requesting? And then ask for favor to get what God is telling you you are there to get. Life is so much more exciting and rewarding when you approach it this way, understanding that God is sovereign, and yet even in His sovereignty, He is inviting us in to partnership with Him. Proverbs 21:21 says, the one who pursues righteousness and faithful love will find life, righteousness, and honor. What more is there, my friends, than life, righteousness, and honor? As Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things, what you'll eat, what you'll wear, and where you'll live, will be provided. May that encourage you to seek Him in all things, to seek His kingdom, to seek His righteousness, to actively look for His kingdom, to diligently search for righteousness, and watch Him as He gives you everything you need. May God bless you, the God of miracles. He's waiting. He is ready to give you everything you need. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for your support. We'll see you tomorrow. And if you need to reach me, you can do so through BibleInOrder.com.